You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is Breaking the Ice on the top of the hour. I'm your host, Connor Cupen, and today I got AJ Chasan on mic 3. What's going on, bro?
What's going on? What's going on? Another day, another episode, another week. Let's get it.
We got a 2-hour show today because we're special. It's spring break, the spring break edition of Breaking the Ice. And Devil's Report is running late here, so, I'm going to hit him with a boo real quick. I gotta find it, but, oh, man, let's hit him with this instead.
Bruh.
That's good enough, you know what I mean?
I feel like that does the job better.
Give him one bro there.
I feel like that does the job better.
And Daniel says, I'm at the door, let me in.
Go get him, I'll be right
go
back.
get him. Go get him real quick. Oh, that's funny. Let's just see let's look at him. Is it really unlocked? Let's see. I don't know if it is. I don't think it is. I had to use my card to get in, man. You're going to have to go get him. Yes, sir. We need to retrieve Daniel Amoia. But in the meantime, 2-hour edition here of Breaking the Ice. Best show on the day because Triple Play didn't happen today. My emo phases would be happening right now if it was happening. But it's not. And it's a sad day here. But, luckily for us, Breaking the Ice is here. And now Devil's Report has officially made it in 1 minute, 30 seconds late. That is honestly impressive. What's up, Daniel? How's it going?
Hey, I don't want to hear the bro sound effect. I was here in time. No one was opening the door for me.
That's a fair point. Honestly. It was literally 2 o'clock, and he made it.
Well,
he did make it.
At 1:58, maybe you're in the studio in your chair by 2.
Ooh.
You know what, AJ? Let's talk hockey.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So where do we want to start today? Do we want to go trade deadline first? What are we feeling? Are we feeling what happened the games this past week?
Well, let's hit him with the deadline.
Hit him with the deadline? All right, boys. Let's get it with the deadline. First things first, because the deadline wrapped up last Friday, and unfortunately, right after we get off air, bunch of more trades drop. It's like, of course. All I had to do was just have my show a little bit later in the day, and then it wouldn't have happened. But here we are, regardless. First trade that happened as soon as we got off air. Canucks and the Red Wings. Philip Hronek headed to Vancouver with a 4th-round pick for a first and a second. I believe these are they unprotected, protected? I'm not sure. But how solid of a trade is this? Vancouver gets another D-man here. Detroit parts with their D-man, but it gets a big solid haul. First and a second-round pick. They give up a 4th, though.
Well, if you're getting a first-round and a second-round pick for Philip Hronek, I don't really care that you lost him if you're Detroit. That's insane. Philip Hronek is not worth that. He's maybe worth a 3rd. Like, he's a solid player, but you're not giving up premium draft capital to do it. So the fact that they got it is just, good job, Vank.
Good job, Detroit.
Good job, Detroit. Like, jeez.
Yeah, Vancouver doing Vancouver things, as always. I know it's a defenseman, but do you guys think that the Tanner Jeannot trade kind of set the precedent for this?
Dude, I swear, it definitely messed up the whole market for teams.
Oh, for sure.
Lightning messed it all up. Tampa screwed the league. Think about it like that. Next trade here, though. We'll get right into the Pittsburgh trade. We got Mikael Granlund for a second. Plain and simple. And then we're just going to let AJ go for 3 minutes.
All right. So, this trade wouldn't have been nearly as bad if Nashville would have retained. If they would have retained even 25% of this salary, it wouldn't have been a terrible move because, so let's just take us back, right? So, coming into the season, the Pens are absolutely cap-strapped, right? They barely have $1 million to work with. Then they send up an absolute prayer through waivers with waving Kasperi Kapanen and hoping somebody picks him up, right? That happens. The Blues answer the Penguins' prayers. Who's calling the station?
Who's calling right now?
Jeez. Who is calling here right now?
So they throw up an absolute prayer. The Blues answer the deal. They pick him up.
Let's see if I know what I'm doing here. You keep going. Don't even worry about it.
Test your board skills, your ADJ skills.
Yeah.
So the Pens now have about $3.5 million. Then they do it again with Brock McGinn and Mark Friedman. They both don't get claimed, nor should they. They're not NHL level players. Then after that happens, they have about $4.5 million. They have to shut off Teddy Bluger to get about $6 million. And how do we do it? And how does that happen? Damn, just pick up the phone and hang up. It's right there.
Listen, man, it's okay. We're gonna let it
Then
ring
they take on $5 million of Mikhail Granlund's contract, who's never been even a third of a point player at any point of his NHL career.
Yikes.
When they need secondary scoring. The reason, this isn't to, bash on the player. Mikhail Granlund's, he's a solid middle sixer, right?
He's a role player,
Yeah,
kinda.
he's a solid third liner. It doesn't work in Pittsburgh. Why? Because on his line, you have Jeff Carter, someone who's not scoring the puck, who's not a finisher, and you have Drew O'Connor, who's nice, but you don't have you don't have more speed you don't have another speedy winger that can put pucks in the net.
Dude, why is it constantly going, man?
Pick up the phone's right there.
The phone.
Just pick it up and put it back down.
Right.
Doesn't
They do the job, man.
AJ's a problem solver like that.
it's been doing that for 2 minutes.
No, but here's the thing, it kept changing. It kept changing the line.
Damn, we should have put him on
Just like the market kept changing after the Tanner Jeannot trade.
We should have put him on the air. But so if they would have been able to retain 25%, right? They wouldn't have been in a situation to where on deadline day they had $1.15 million. If they retain 25% of the trade, they have about $3 million and still puts you in the Brock Besser sweepstakes, right? It still puts you in the Domi sweepstakes. It still puts you in a scenario to where you're able to add another winger. What do they do with that 1.15, you might ask? They finally then shed off Brock McGinn in a trade with Anaheim, with San Jose, and with a 3-teamer to get Nick Bonino, which
Bonino.
one of the greatest calls of all time. A nice PKer, a nice fourth-line center. Does it move the needle? No, it doesn't. And it's just a rental, so it will actually provide the Pens a little bit of cap relief next year. But it doesn't move the needle for this year. No. And then they pick up Dmitry Kulikov, who's nice. He's a nice D-man. He's a nice third pair.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted him on the Devils, but
I would say he's a nice third pair. Again, does he move the needle? No. The only positive that gives you is now you actually could roll out 6D and not have to shelter P.O. Joseph on the third line. So that's beautiful. But other than that, did the Penguins get much better? They got a little bit better.
barely.
They got barely better. And now, after the deadline, let me throw out a little nugget for people listening. The Penguins are now have the oldest roster in NHL history.
I saw that. It's like 30.8 years old average, right?
Yep.
Yikes.
Yep. Alex Nylander. Yep. But if Ron Hextall and Brian Burke, right? If they send down Alex Nylander back to Wilkes-Barre, that's a fireable. Out of any fireable offense that they have made in the last year, and we could take 2 hours with breaking those all down. That is the epitome, and that is the one move that we'll look at and that's the reason they're fired. He is a point per game player at Wilkes-Barre, comes onto the ice comes to the Penguins right. The Malkin line probably played their best game outside the first period that they played all year.
So you're saying if Nylander gets sent down, you're going to become a full-time Devils fan?
No, if Nylander gets sent down, I'm going to get the show fined. I said it to Connor before the air. If he gets sent down, I'm going to get the show fined.
This is proof. This is true. This is true information.
So that little dump button better work because
it works once every 30 seconds, and it clears the last 7 seconds. So
better happen because that would just be egregious. It would be egregious.
I kind of hope it happens live
just like
on
the
air
deadline.
now. I hope
just
I
like
get
the deadline.
I hope
Move it on.
All right, Mikhail Granlund, 2nd-round pick, straight up like that. Next trade, Ottawa and Arizona, Jacob Chikrin. A first this year, second next year, and a second in 3 years.
I mean, that trade's a steal due to Arizona's incompetence.
Yeah.
Jacob Chikrin was absolutely right not wanting to play for an organization that plays in Pike's backyard.
I love that joke, man. It's the top 5 joke of our show.
I mean, who wants to play there? The Coyotes they're literally not trying to be good. Like, they're picking up contracts like Shea Weber just so they can stay above the salary floor. Like, they're not trying to compete until they get a new arena. If they don't get either Connor Bedard or Adam Fantilli, what are they doing in the rebuild?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
I'd feel so bad for Bedard if he became a Coyote.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway we could take from this Chikrin deal, other than Ottawa just getting just a ton better by it, getting a true number 1 D-man, if they don't get Connor Bedard, there's Logan Cooley pulling Adam Fox. I think it's very possible.
It wouldn't surprise me.
He would just be stranded there. Because they're not helping him. They're not doing anything to win. They're accumulating assets, but do you trust that organization to be able to capitalize on them? No, they lucked into Logan Cooley.
Yeah, literally. There was just incompetence across the board. There was a tweet from Trey Matthews, Devils reporter, and he said there were multiple players cursing around the locker room when they just played at the Mullet because they were so frustrated with how poor the facilities were. And it's just like you're embarrassing yourself.
I mean, yeah, they play in a college arena.
Listen, they sell out 100% though.
Well, yeah. If I built a 6-seat arena right now,
we'd get 50.
I'm sure
right now we'd get 50.
We'd have a line out the door for tickets, but even if it's a 50-person line, it doesn't mean anything.
And you want to know why they sell out? So, I was with the rare one of the Coyotes games that I actually watched because they're just, why would you watch Coyotes game? I was watching them versus the Devils. Do you want to know what the reason why they sold out? You want to know what color was in the? Do you want to know what color was in the stands?
Red Sea.
Tell them. I would say tell them what color was in the stands.
There were so many Devils fans. There's a video that one of my followers on Devils Report sent me of Timo Meyer's goal, and just panned across the crowd, and everyone was standing and cheering. There were no Coyote. Maybe a few sprinkled in here and there Coyotes fans, but it was literally all Devils fans.
It's not even just the Devils too, and not
just hockey fans.
Yeah, when
are in the area, they're I'll check out a game.
Yeah, when the Flames are down there, it looks like the Saddle Dome. When the Rangers are down there, it looks like Madison Square Garden.
Just
when the Penguins are down there, they looks like PPG Paints Arena. Even when the Tampa Bay Lightning are down there. It looks like a Lightning home game.
It looks like Amalie Arena.
It does. It's embarrassing.
Is that where the Lightning play, or am I wrong? Hold on. Gotta check this out now.
It is Amalie, unless they changed the name. But...
I knew something.
There you go.
I knew something.
Attaboy, but it's... Ugh, what are you doing? What are you doing? They deserve to get booed. Why?
Boo.
Boo.
All right, ready? Here, I got you.
Hit them.
I know that was coming.
Atta babe.
Next trade we going for here. So Chikrin, now he's on a team that's low-key competing for a playoff spot. Ottawa's trying.
Don't count him out. I don't think it's
Claude
a lock
Giroux
in any
is
sense,
back.
But
He's
don't count
great.
him out. Don't sleep on the Sens.
I would say him and Chikrin spoiled what's it called Tanner's guy Patrick Kane's home debut.
Yeah, more than spoiled it. That was the most depressed group of fans I've seen leaving an arena, maybe of all time. That's in a regular season.
Can we
game.
just resurface back to that Patrick Kane trade real quick?
Yeah, let's go.
What does Patrick Kane add to the Rangers that they didn't already have?
Worse defense somehow.
What they didn't already have. They didn't already have.
Yeah,
But
they
that's
already
what I'm
had
saying.
worse
They had not great defense, and he just added a whole nother level of even worse somehow. I know it seems not believable.
It's nuts. No, it seems not believable, but it is.
You know the tweets where they're like, oh, he just did cardio for 40 minutes. That's Patrick Kane. He just skates around in circles and does absolutely nothing.
I forgot what goal it was.
Was it the shorthanded goal against Boston?
Yeah,
I know.
Who scored that?
I'm
that was
blanking.
No, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. I'll do a full-on breakdown on why that goal was bad on the Instagram. But jeez, like Patrick Kane, bro,
He just stood there and literally watched the guy. He should just went to the concession stand, grabbed some popcorn, and started.
I hate to
chowing
rag
it
on
down.
Patrick Kane. He's the greatest American-born hockey player of all time.
It's like Tom Brady. Like eventually your window runs out.
Yeah, I'm saying he's a Hall of
Sorry
Famer.
to
He's won
Justin, I know
3
it's your dad,
cups.
but
Like, what are we like? Ugh. Like and it's not like that line has hurted that much because they do have Trocheck and Panarin on that line. And the locker when you add a Patrick Kane, it does make your locker room tighter. That was a good. I'm not trying to say it was a bad addition.
yeah, but
What I'm
it's
saying-
not this like superstar edition where people like selling out the arena and like the whole sports world talking about it.
Like I said about the Granlund trade, right? And I hate to compare, and I'm not comparing Mikael Granlund to Patrick Kane. That's not what I'm doing. But what I'm saying is, does the Patrick Kane trade move the needle? Connor, what do you think? Does the Patrick Kane trade move the needle for the Rangers?
As in what?
Does it make them more of a Stanley Cup contender that they were pre-Patrick Kane?
This is hard, you know what I mean? Because, their offense takes a little bit of an improvement here, but I hear your point. Both sides of the puck, I was going to say ball, both sides of the puck need to be played well, and if it didn't improve the main problem they had, I wouldn't say so.
But the thing is, he's not even that great offensively anymore. Like, he racks up occasional assists. What does he have, 11 goals? Like, I think he has the same amount of goals as Miles Wood.
Hey.
I would say, could you make this argument? Vladimir Tarasenko has been a much better ad than Patrick Kane.
It's not even close. Yeah.
Vladimir Tarasenko has been one heck of an ad.
That was the ad they needed to make. Patrick Kane, he really does nothing to them other than the name and jersey sales.
I would say, Jim Dolan's definitely happy about Patrick Kane being a Ranger. I wonder how much money he's made off 88.
Oh, so much.
Ugh, but
never buy a jersey of a rental player, anyone.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I've done that.
Do you think that the Rangers end up re-signing Patrick Kane?
No. I feel like no, right?
No.
I
He'll
don't
go
think
wherever
so.
he wants, and I feel like it won't be there.
No, I think he'll want it, but I think he'll want to be there. Like he said like over times of 2 years now, like that he wants to be a Ranger. Like this has been his destination. And when Vladimir Tarasenko got traded there, he was just he almost acted like a 12-year-old. Like he was upset, crying to the media about it. Like he wanted to be a Ranger. But the thing is, like Patrick, it was like I still think I still love the Rangers' chances of making it out of the East. Like I still think the Rangers right now they're still my cut pick out of the East. But they just I don't think Patrick Kane adds to
Why more so than Carolina?
That.
Why are the Rangers your cup pick over Carolina?
Honestly, and it's going to sound counterintuitive to what I was just saying, I just think their top 6 is just going to be able to outscore. I think that their defense, they have enough talent on it to where they can figure it out. They don't have to be elite because I think Igor Shesterkin's that good. Like I think he's good enough to keep them in that series. And I think that with Carolina, they're a team that they're not a team that stays out of the box. They're a team that will put themselves in the box and will put the Rangers on the power play. It's the reason why the Rangers beat them last year. And I think that their top 6 and their PP1 will just be good enough. Like it'll just be out good enough. Like the thing with the Rangers is, if I'm the Rangers, I don't want to see Tampa again.
Though with the way things have gone for Tampa lately.
No, I still don't want to see them. If you're the Rangers, a team with teams that will give them trouble, and we'll get into it a little bit later with another team, are teams that are physical and teams that will ride you for 60 minutes. Like that's like a no pun intended. Let's not be 12. But teams that will physically get on you for 60 minutes. Those are the type of teams that will give the Rangers trouble because they're feathers.
I feel like that's a subtweet to the Devils too, because it's kind of the same issue with them.
No, we'll get into that a little bit later. I don't gotta talk about that now.
I knew that's what you were getting into. You're pretty predictable.
Oh.
Actually, it's actually why if the standings stay like this, even though I like the Rangers, That series with the Devils is going 7. That's gonna be a dog.
It's gonna be very stressful for me.
That's gonna be a dog fight. But yeah, I don't want to harp on the Rangers too much. I would think on Patrick Kane. It makes the league better that he's a Ranger, but I don't think he adds to. I don't think he adds to their chances of being a cup contender.
All right. So back to the trades deadline now of last week, Friday the 3rd. Next one, we talked about one Arizona trade, now another. Right after the chicken trade, Shane Gostisbehere was traded to the Canes for a third. Solid D-man, third-round pick. How do we feel about this one? I think Carolina made a solid move here.
Yeah. I mean, if any team that can poach talent out of Arizona is going to make a solid move. Arizona's going to eat up money on contracts of players that don't even exist.
Players that don't even exist.
They don't even try. They're not even trying to win. So like, I mean,
Don't even exist.
I mean, Arizona's pretty much like they're pretty much a farm system that every other NHL team in the league right now. So, third round pick. Do you trust Arizona to be able to make a quality pick with that third round pick? No.
No, you could field a whole team of goats and cows, and Arizona would still be more of a farm team.
Pretty much. So like, anytime you can take a solid player off that team, I mean, it's a great trade.
I'm saying, what does this do for Carolina, though? Gostisbehere on the defense.
It tightens it up.
He's been a good addition for them. He's been very solid since joining them.
Yeah, it tightens it up. It adds you a little bit more puck movement. It adds you a little bit more physicality back there, and it makes your team a little bit that much better. So it was a good trade.
I think he has 6 points in 4 games now with them.
Yeah.
Man, sometimes they just hit like that. So good trade there. Arizona getting diced up. Now over to Detroit. Boston makes the Bertuzzi trade, a first-round pick in 2024 and a fourth in 2025.
I love the first-round pick in 2024. I think Boston. This is their year that they're going all in.
So they got to make the trade. Yeah, they got to make the trade.
Yeah, I'm saying I like it for Detroit. I mean, this is the year that Boston's going all in.
It's cup or bust,
yeah,
obviously.
It's the year that they're burning assets. In 2024, that pick's probably. I'm not saying Boston's going to be bad, but that pick's probably
could be.
I mean, no, they have too much talent on that team. That even with the impending retirements of Bergeron and Krejci, they still have too much talent on that pick to be bad. But I mean, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, do we see that pick in there? Yeah. I mean, you're still getting a talented player. So, Bertuzzi, if you didn't think that you're able to lock him up long term, and it's not like Bertuzzi is a player that moves the needle for Detroit. Like, you can go out and get another Bertuzzi.
Yeah, but him being on the third line for Boston just speaks to their incredible depth.
Yeah, that's insane.
They're a powerhouse, and I don't think any of us were really expecting this.
Mm-hmm. The thing with Boston is they're just complete. They don't. But the thing with Boston, and it's why I admire this run so much, is they're not a team that does really anything at a truly dominant level, but they do they do everything at a very, very, very good level. Like, they're not a team that's going to lead with the league. They're not a team that's going to have like the number one PK. They're not going to have the number one power play. They don't have the number one offense. They don't have the number one defense. But they do everything. They do everything. They're deep. They're complete. Whoever's on the ice, it's a problem. And they're a team that they're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. They're going to be a real tough out. And would it shock me to see Boston? Would it shock you to see Boston just steamroll them in the whole thing?
It wouldn't shock me, but I still just the whole President's Trophy curse. Connor knows that very well.
Listen, man,
it's
there.
It's a real thing. It's just like the Madden cover curse.
That one was broken though. That one has been broken.
Well, let's see how Jazz Chisholm does.
He's physically broken.
But yeah, like Boston, we'll see what happens. This is their year. They're going all in, and I mean, I like him to see the conference. I like to see the conference title. I like it. I can see it.
We'll stick with Boston, actually. Get away from the trades, but David Pastrnak finally got the extension done. 8 years, $90 million.
I mean,
11 and change a season.
Good for Boston. They got their up and coming. They got their now face of the franchise player locked up. he's gonna be with that. He's now this generation of Bruins hockey's poster boy. Like you couldn't leave. You couldn't let him leave in the same offseason. Bergeron and Krejci were retiring. It would have been terrible for the organization if he would have hit free agency. Just he's one of the few players in the NHL where you just blind check it, just because of how much they mean to how much he means to that city and that organization, and the fact they were able to get it done. Great on the NHL, great on the Bruins, great on Pastrnak, and it's just it was awesome to see that report.
Yeah, I have a friend that goes to school in Rhode Island, so he's pretty close to the Bruins. And in all the grocery stores, they sell pasta, and it's literally like almost all the pasta they sell has like a picture of David Pastrnak on the box. Like that's
incredible.
That's how important he is to that area and how much the fans have really just showed him their admiration. And I think that's really, really cool. And like you said, face of the franchise, he blank check him. The way everything about David Pasternak's game is just incredible. I mean, he's a superstar. So it was deserved.
Deserved contract there. I haven't seen bread like that in a minute, but that's a lot. 8 years, $90 million. So now the next one, I'm just gonna get a little meme trade here for you guys. This is great because
are you gonna say John Gillies?
Yeah, man, best trade ever of the deadline. John Gillies for Jacob Voracek and a 6th. I need the heartfelt opinion here.
Nobody cares.
Oh no, come on.
Excuse me.
Daniel cares.
What is with the John Gillies hate?
Yeah, what is with the John Gillies hate? You know what? Give me the bonk. AJ getting a bonk.
Nobody cares. With this trade,
he's a legend. Take it back.
Sure.
Vitek Vanacek has been playing like John Gillies lately.
Whatever. Nobody cares about John Gillies. Why are we talking about this?
Daniel's favorite.
I think
Hammond or Gillies?
Ooh. I gotta go with the Hamburglar just because I watched him first blow a 4-goal lead to the Florida Panthers.
As in you're saying which one's worse or better?
Better.
Okay, so you think Hammond is better than Gillies?
Yeah, because A, he blew a 4-goal lead and I got to see it in person, and then in person I got to see him let in a dump in from center ice and kick the puck into his net by accident.
That was so funny.
That's the reason he's better, because at least if you're gonna be bad, make it comical. John Gillies was just bad, not funny. Hammond was bad and funny.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody cares about John Gillies.
Yeah. Well,
listen, man, you're just a hater. He's just a hater over there in Sheet 3.
Listen, I don't mind being a hater of John Gillies.
All right. We'll go now to a real goaltender here. Jonathan Quick gets traded to Vegas.
I mean, even that now.
Yeah,
Michael Hutchinson is 7th.
He might be as good as John Gillies at this stage in his career.
I'm going to say it. Jonathan Quick, he's a Hall of Famer. He's 2-time Stanley Cup champion. But is he a real goaltender?
It's like Kane. When your window's up, it's up, and it's unfortunate because these guys have dedicated their life to this game, really, and sometimes they just don't want to let go, and I can't imagine how difficult that is. But at some point, you just stop producing, and it's like at what point do you just have to kind of swallow your pride and be like, look, I did so many great things in this league. In Quick's case, I won 2 cups. Just it's time to hang it up.
Look, here's how I look at it now. You just got traded from LA, right? It was a little heartbreaking. Now he's in Vegas. That's probably those two are fighting for the top of that division right now. So of all the teams he could have gone to, he's now in Vegas. Either Vegas or Seattle would have been tough because LA at this moment will play Seattle first round, and if they get out of it, they'll play Vegas trying to take down, I think, Winnipeg or Edmonton. So right now, if they can match up in the second round, that's going to be entertaining hockey right there. Jonathan Quick versus the team that let him go in the second round.
It'll be entertaining because LA will light him up like a Christmas tree.
Listen, he faced those guys in practice every day. You never know. You never know.
Nothing like the Vegas Golden Knights taking an aging goalie and trading for him and without giving up assets to do it.
At least this time his agent didn't post a tweet with the sword in his back.
Yeah, that's a positive. That's the one positive we could take away from this trade. That he might be worse than John Gillies and his agent, but that his agent's actually PR certified. Cool, awesome.
Moving on here, so a little bit of a smaller trade here. Edmonton and Arizona yet again. Nick Bjugstad, Panthers legend, traded to the Edmonton Oilers with Cam Dineen, sending over back. Edmonton gives up Michael Kesselring, and a third-round pick. Nick Bugstad, now. This was a guy who I thought was, like, the best goal scorer ever when I was, like, 12 years old, man. Like, this kid lit up Florida for a season and then fell off the map a bit. But he's only 30. I didn't know he was, like, that. I thought he was way older for some reason. How is this move for Edmonton now?
Again, anytime you can poach talent off of Arizona,
Do it.
do it. Because Arizona will sell them off. Arizona will sell them off like a kid at like a lemonade stand trying to make a quarter.
Is this supposed to be like Pulya Harvey's replacement piece here?
I guess.
Nick
like,
Bugstad.
Regardless, you're capitalizing on Arizona's incompetence.
Cool. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
I'm kind of surprised Lawson Krause didn't get dealt. With the way Arizona likes to just be like, here, take him.
I'm surprised that any player of value, even like a Nick Schmaltz, I'm surprised he didn't get dealt.
Krause and the only one, like Keller, that doesn't surprise me. Like, but everyone else on that team that's not named Clayton Keller.
Within the next 12 months, Clayton Keller is going to pull a Chikrin, though.
It wouldn't surprise me.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I feel bad for the guy. He's good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, another one here. This is one AJ wanted to happen with Pittsburgh, but Max Domi trade. Max Domi headed to Dallas. Huge move for them. Dylan Wells also coming to Dallas. In return, Chicago gets Anton Khudobin, who was kind of nasty in 2020 and has a second-round pick 2 years from now. So, Max Domi trade over to Dallas. Now, first of all, we know all these trades. The West is the stronger of the two sides. I meant the East. My mistake. I said it backwards.
Yeah, I was gonna say what?
I was gonna say what numbers are you cranking? What are you looking at?
I said that backwards totally.
Directions are hard. It's okay.
Domi trade. What are thoughts on this one?
I mean, he adds you physicality. He'll get up in the scrum. He'll fight people. He adds you secondary scoring. He adds you defense. He can with that. He's good in the dot. He can win draws. He can move the puck. He can skate. He's proven that he can put up with it. He's proven that he can put up big performances in the playoffs. That Game 7 goal in the first round versus Boston will probably be one of his, if not his career highlight. Like you're just adding a good depth piece to a playoff team. And Dallas, they needed somebody to play on that Sagan line, on that third line, and Domi's that piece. Domi, I think I said either last show or 2 shows ago that whatever team that traded for Max Domi was going to be the best value deal of the deadline is Dallas. So good job. A+.
A+. Good job, Dallas. I mean, Domi is a great piece there. And for a team that's still holding on to first in that division, boggles my mind, but they're doing it. They're doing it. Lose games in overtime, kids. That's the rule. If you can lose 13 games in overtime, you'll be leading your division.
Not this again. Oh, God.
Well, you think I'm going to let that go?
Oh, God. I was like, you bring this up every show. It's until the NHL changes it, you just gotta embrace the fact that this is
I'll
part
fully embrace it. Don't get me wrong. But like, I just want any team. Like, come on, Minnesota, you're 2 points behind. Please catch.
Is that your new Winnipeg?
I can't stand it, man.
Because Winnipeg, we were told for 2 months, was
they're
the greatest.
The 8 seed right now. They fell off. Yeah, they fell off hard.
Yeah, we all tried to tell you Winnipeg was bad.
Not bad. They're not bad. They are not bad. They're just not winning right now.
They're not.
They're not bad. They're just not good.
Not a good hockey team.
All right.
It's called mid.
Moving on now. Back to Boston, though. So they are the fastest team in NHL history to record 100 points in a season. 61 games. Previous record was 62. All the way back in 1977, the Montreal Canadiens. So this Boston team not only broke this record, but they're on pace to be the best regular season team in NHL history. So is the President's Trophy curse finally going to have a chance to be broken? Or is it just going to remain strong? Because, listen, Devils Fanatics thinks it's over.
He thinks that the President's Trophy curse is over?
Yes.
Well,
this season he thinks it's going to get broken.
Well, if I were to lean one way or the other on that, I'd probably lean towards Justin's side. And here's why. I don't think the reason why I believe the President's Trophy curse to be a thing is because teams try to get that little regular season achievement, and they play and work their guys for an 82 full with a game season when they have their number one seed in the conference locked up. That's what it's not because they won a trophy. It's because of the work they put in from games 72 to 82 is the reason why in the first or second round these teams get burned out. Boston, the fact that we talk about them and the fact that we talk about them being such a deep and complete team, they could still run out their lineup, chase this with a regular season honor. But they don't have to play their top lines 21 minutes to do it.
No, not at all.
What if they could do it, throw out their top lines for maybe 16, 17 minutes. Let their bottom six eat, because their bottom six is better than I would even say Boston's bottom six is better than 8 teams' top sixes right now in the league.
Yeah.
They're great.
Definitely better than like Arizona's and like Columbus and San
that's what I'm
Jose.
saying. So they can just run. They can run out their bottom six They can run out their bottom six, have them play top 6 minutes, can rest their guys, or they can rest their Pasternaks, their Bergerons, their Marchands, their Krejcis, without actually having to throw them in the press box. They can actually have them get on ice time, stay fresh, stay like in the game, that they can stay on a routine, stay on a playing basis, and be just fine. Like I don't think if the Bruins lose in the playoffs, it's because of the President's Trophy case. I just think it's because the team just flat out beat them. That's my thing.
I hear what you're saying. I mean,
yeah, but hasn't that been the case with any other team? Like the Panthers last year, it wasn't actually the curse. Like they just got beat by a team.
Well, the Panthers were still throwing their top line out there. But their top.
They tried, man. They couldn't score. It was so bad.
The power play was really bad.
Yeah. And keep in mind, Brunette was a power play coach.
But they were still throwing their top 6 out there for top 6 minutes. Like the Panthers,
yeah.
Right? The Panthers were a really good team last year. They were not as deep. They were not as deep last year as Boston is this year.
Oh, that's not even close.
I'll give you that. Boston's defense is good. The problem was Florida's defense was all right. Like the first, Ekblad and Uyghur were a great pair, and then Forsling and Gudis were a solid pair. But when you got to line 3, like Montour wasn't what he is now.
Yeah.
And they had like Lucas Carlson playing the 6th man. They didn't have a 6th defenseman that was like
that's what scares me with the Devils. I mean, Kevin Ball's been better, but as of late, but I don't know. There's still question marks there. It's scary.
They didn't have a 6th defenseman. They tried to trade for like Robert Hagg or something from Buffalo, and it just didn't work. And then the offense just fell apart. That was the whole team.
Yeah,
the offense.
The Devils, I think, twice put over 5 goals on Florida last year, and the Devils were not a good team last year.
They did it twice.
But
I was at both games. Yeah, yeah.
I remember you saying it constantly. Outscore your problems.
Dude, they did it last year, man. They outscored all their problems last year
in the regular season
because they couldn't outscore the problems.
But the thing with Boston is they really don't have problems.
Problems.
They don't really have problems. So if they get beat, it's because they got beat. Like, I would be with you guys if
I get what you're saying.
If this year's Bruins and last year's Panthers were a legitimate comparison, but they're not.
Yeah, it's different. Boston is better than last year's Panthers. This is the greatest regular season team ever thus far.
Probably.
We'll see if they break the record for most points in a season, but they're on pace to do it.
Also, shout out AJ Greer of the Boston Bruins. He's been so solid on their 4th line. He was a Utica Comet in the Devils farm system last year, only played like 4 or 5 games with them. Found a place on what is now, like you said, one of the best regular season teams of all time. And I was always a fan of his. He plays hard. He does a lot of things right. And I'm kind of upset the Devils didn't bring him back. He would have been perfect for our 4th line right now. But to see him having that kind of success when he was just stuck in the AHL, and not just him, I think we've seen so many cases, Alex Nylander, I guess you could say most recent case in point, where players are just in the AHL for so long and don't really get a shot, and then one team gives them a shot and they thrive. And I really wonder how many players that are currently in the minors would be very good NHLers if they just got a chance. I mean, even I know he's had more of a rough year this year, but Mason Marchment last year for Florida,
Dude! Oh,
he was on
man.
a tear.
He's playing bad now?
Yeah, I think he's scored like 1 goal in his last 20 games.
That's never ideal.
But it's just the fact that, and there was someone for Vancouver, I think, I don't remember the name, but
Come on, Mush, you got to do better than that.
he's just been playing like really, really well, and he's a guy that was with the Abbotsford Canucks all year, and it's like some of these guys, like, they have the talent, but like for either they're on a bad line in the AHL or have a bad defensive partner, or their coach makes them play a bad system, and they get called up to the NHL, and they're very, very good players, and there's really no way to know if that will translate unless you give them a shot.
I hear what you're saying. I agree with you. You know, there's just guys that are stuck down there that they need a chance to shine. But sadly, there's only so much you can do. There are only 18 guys that hit the ice a game. Wait, is that? No. 36, because both teams. There's 36 guys that hit the ice a game. I think my math is right.
Yeah.
38. Missed the goaltenders.
Yeah.
Sir.
Regardless, Boston looks like the best team ever, and we'll see if they actually can do it. They're like barely on pace, but they can do it. Moving on back to trades now, a little small one here. You know, St. Louis, Detroit, Jakub Vrana for Dylan McLaughlin and a 7th-round pick. I feel like this doesn't make too much of a difference. You know what I mean? It's two teams not really going to go anywhere. Maybe both miss the playoffs. So you know, it's just there.
It's a good chance for Vrana to get his career back on track.
Fair. That's a fair point. Now, did we touch on Bonino trade already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did already? All right. Got you. So, Winnipeg now making a trade. Vlad Nemestikov for a 4th from San Jose. San Jose is kind of like in the same boat as Arizona, I think, you know. Poaching talent from them. Similar situation. Does this help? How much does this help Winnipeg? So far, it hasn't really done much, clearly. But
I mean,
it just adds depth. That's what a lot of these deadline trades are about. Just like doing what you can to make sure if a guy goes down in the playoffs, you have someone who's fit for the role sitting in your press box and not some minor leaguer who hasn't got a taste of the NHL or something like that, because especially in the playoffs, there's a lot more physicality, and sometimes there's dirty players like Trouba. Last year.
Yeah.
Like Trouba.
Keep going what you were saying.
And you need that backup and that depth, and I'm not saying you could just replace a guy like Sidney Crosby in the Penguins case, but you still you need to have a deeper lineup to have people be able to step in, and if someone's not producing, to know that you're not stuck with them and you could have someone come in their spot.
It's pretty. You pretty much hit it on the nail in the coffin. Like a lot of, especially we saw this on deadline day. Like early on in the trade deadline, we saw like the big fishes move. We saw like your Tarasenko's, your Timo Meyer's move, like your Ryan O'Reilly's move, even your Ekholm's move. We saw that a little bit earlier in the deadline. Like those are your true like impact pieces. Like that's when they'll go. But on deadline day, it's just to shore up your bottom pair. It's to shore up your bottom line, your bottom 6, your bottom pairing, your press box, and
your press box.
I mean, yeah, but that's an important part of your organization. But people don't realize that.
I know. I hear what you're saying, man. I agree with you. I'm on your side.
Yes, sir.
So, gonna move on now again. Buffalo and Minnesota. Jordan Greenway headed to the Sabres for a 2nd this year and a 5th next year.
I actually like that trade for Buffalo.
Me too.
I would say Greenway's a player to where he wasn't really producing in Minnesota, but I think he's talented. I think for a team like Buffalo with that's on the rise and that's not really paying anybody, they can afford to like make these swings and like take these chances on these players. Because I mean, what if Greenway doesn't hit? What if he stays? What if he like stays at a similar production rate that he did in Minnesota? Gave up a 2nd-round pick. 2nd-round pick, move the needle?
No, life goes on.
Yeah,
life goes on, man.
It's okay. I mean, if you think he fits the system, you think he could add some value.
It's an educated risk. They're not just blindly giving up a 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th like Tampa Bay.
Don't forget Cal Foote. Great.
Cal Foote was in that trade too now. Don't forget
him.
I'm watching you, Daniel.
Good thing Buffalo doesn't have any feet to trade.
Yeah, I mean.
Got him!
That might have been my favorite quote from a head coach ever after the draft, because Tampa Bay had Nolan Foote and Cal Foote, both brothers, and they interviewed John Cooper, and he said, "Now we have 2 feet."
Hilarious, man. Hilarious, man.
All-time NHL quote right there.
Incredible joke. You know what I'm saying?
Right up there with John Tortorella saying he doesn't care if his players make the All-Star game.
Boom. All right, did we touch Kulikov already?
Yes.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure. We got all the Pittsburgh trades out the way. Now we're going to head over to a little bit of another Arizona trade, but the Ritchie brothers got traded for each other. Nick Ritchie and Troy Stetcher for Brett Ritchie and Connor Mackey. Random trade there, but I feel like it's odd. You don't really see stuff like that.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's a nice little headline, but it doesn't.
Change of scenery kind of thing, you never know.
Yeah, it's a nice little headline. It doesn't rock the waves of any organization.
Bigger trade here. The Ducks getting poached. John Klingberg over to Minnesota. D-man, 4th round pick, Nikita Nesterenko, Andre Suter. What's the thoughts here?
John Klingberg, he signed a 1-year bet on himself deal to hopefully get traded on the deadline.
He got traded on the deadline.
Obviously, he got traded on the deadline. Anaheim, one of, if not the worst teams in the league.
I would say there's a bottom 5. There's a bottom 5.
They're in there.
Anaheim, San Jose, Arizona, Chicago, Columbus.
They're in there. They're in there for sure. Whichever way you want to rank them, they're in that mix.
Yeah.
Klingberg. I mean, when you're giving up when you have a team that's giving up that many goals, there's a chance for you to fall asleep there. You're not going to give 100% effort every night. I'm not here to criticize a player's effort, but I mean, it's very easy to, when you're not playing winning hockey to just sort of go through the motions.
For sure.
I think that might have I'm not saying for sure it might have happened to him because he has just not been playing up to his standards. This is an opportunity for him to go into a winning environment, go into a playoff race, reestablish himself as a number 1 D-man that he can play at, but he's going to have to prove it again. And if he wants that long-term deal, if he wants that deal that he was searching for last offseason and he didn't get it, he's going to have to really show out in these last 20 games, and he's going to have to produce in the playoffs.
Well, it's kind of similar to the Rangers and Patrick Kane in a sense that they were almost kind of banking on the fact that he was battling through some injuries and just going through the motions with Chicago, and he's going to unlock a second gear when he comes to New York. And newsflash, I personally don't think that's happening, but
we'll see what happens, and we'll see what
I'm
happens.
not saying it's impossible.
Exactly.
I got to see it to believe it.
We'll see. Over the next couple weeks, both players will get integrated in their systems. They'll be able to have a clear understanding of what both organizations are asking them, and we'll see if they elevate their game. It's possible.
Yeah, it takes time to get adjusted too. I believe it's about 10 games usually when you can really start to judge.
Mm-hmm. And people don't say this. You also have to take the life aspect into it. You're picking up. You're moving to a different part of the world. Yeah, you have to do a different part of the world. Some guys got families and stuff. You're moving them. It takes a little bit. Do I think Klingberg's going to reestablish himself? Yes. He's got to prove it. And I don't think his play in Anaheim really helped him to get that long-term deal. Don't be shocked if next year he's signing another 1-year deal. Don't be shocked.
All right. So, John Klingberg, Minnesota. We'll see if he gets his long-term contract or not. Sadly, we'll have to wait till the summer edition of Breaking the Ice. By that point, the ice will be broken because it'll be melted by the heat. So, now, moving on here. Not a trade, but just, oh, man. Toronto. Ryan O'Reilly broke his fingers on LTIR.
That stinks.
Unfortunate.
That's a big blow to them.
Come on.
O'Reilly was buzzing on that Tavares line too. That was looking like maybe we could look at this trade deadline like the playoffs. That was maybe looking like the best move in the deadline. O'Reilly was he was balling for them.
Yeah.
So Toronto, they're gonna have to weather the storm for these next 4 weeks. They're gonna have to stay paced. They're gonna have to stay at that point per game pace. They're gonna have to match Tampa. They're gonna have to stay. They need that 2 seed. They need that 2 seed. They can't afford to let Tampa back in the race, to let them get hot, because they need that extra home game versus them.
Without a doubt, if they even want a chance. But
I think this is the year the curse for Toronto is broken. I'm not saying they win the cup, but they're
just
actually...
a playoff series?
Finally, I got someone on my side. Boom.
Let's go.
I've been saying that for 3 weeks. Love it.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work. So let's move on to one last thing here. No trade, just Connor McDavid, our weekly Connor McDavid stat. You know what I mean?
Let me guess. He scored 2 goals, and in the next game he scored another 2, and then in the next game he scored another 2.
Not that. But he has his career high in points already with 124. And we got what? Let's see how many more games the Oilers got left.
17.
17. So what's that? Another 30 points for him?
At least.
Can we get a 150-point season out of Connor McDavid?
I think if he's healthy, I think that's a lock.
Yeah, I want. Hold up. Let me go. You guys talk
He's
for a little
pulling up
bit.
the calculator.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I'm going on FanDuel right now. I want to see if they have his over/under point totals.
All right. So Daniel, 124 points for this man right here, the legend, the man who definitely knows he's the best in the league.
If he played in Gretzky's era, he'd have 200 points already.
Interesting way
I
to look at
strongly
it.
believe that.
So let's just check out his. He's got 70 assists on the year and 54 goals. His last few. Let's see. When was the last time he had a game with no points? It was February 12th in Montreal. He had no points that game. But before that, he last scored. He's got one game this entire calendar year, 2023. One game with no points, just one.
Wow.
The last game before that was literally New Year's Eve against Winnipeg. He scored no points. But since then, it's either a goal or an assist in every single game besides that one game.
I saw a graphic from Sportsnet that he had more 4-point games this year than no-point games.
He does. He has 2 4-point games and 1 no-point game. He's a 5-point game, actually. So, actually, that's from last year. That was from New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, 5-point game. New Year's Eve, 0-point game.
All right, I have 2 lines for you guys.
All right, let's hear it.
Over/under 152.5.
That's even crazy that's what it's at.
152.5.
Oh, boy. So, what is he? 28 points away from that? That's 28 points away.
He's
17
basically
games.
A lock
Yeah,
for
let's
2
see you get
points
that.
a night.
Oh, that's an and
2
is
goals,
over. What's it
even.
called? Over/under. What's it called? With the season goals, 65.5.
Okay, so he's at 54. Yeah, why not?
We going over or under?
I think
Overs?
I
Both
think
overs?
He's going to be just under on the goals, but he's going to get the points and the assists.
Interesting. I think I'm going both overs.
All right. Nice little betting game for you guys.
Listen, yeah, we got to get ready, man. I turned 21 in September.
That's a long time away, bud.
But you're already there, is what I'm saying. You know, so you can show us the way.
I'll educate you boys.
He'll educate us here. All right. So now we've gotten done with all of that here. All the trade deadline is over.
All right,
So now-
biggest winners, biggest losers.
Losers.
Give me 2 winners. Give me 2 big winners. Give me 2 big losers.
Okay, well, so are we throwing in the teams like Arizona and stuff like that, or not really?
Teams, it's like that. I mean, if you want to.
Because I mean, they are really the biggest losers, but at the same time, they're not playing for a championship.
Give me teams that are interesting. Give
you
me
know what I'm
teams that
saying? I
have
feel
headlines.
like that, like, it's not, like, yeah, clearly they're the biggest loser. They sold everything.
All right, give me 2 winners, give me 2 losers. And explain
Tampa
why.
Bay, because the Tanner Jeannot trade, they gave up a ton of capital for one guy with less than 20 points.
All right, so that's 1 loser.
Easy loser for me right there. And a winner, Boston. Like, genuinely, they bolstered their lineup even more than it already was.
Give me 1 more of each.
One more winner and loser of each. Okay. So, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Let's just review everything we've seen thus far.
Somebody's looking, Daniel. You could chime in as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna need Daniel to get on this one here because I feel like another winner would be the Rangers. You know,
Okay.
Tarasenko, and if Kane gets going, easy W for them.
Okay.
And another loser. I feel like you can even put Vegas in that category. Barbashev, a settled trade. Quick is now your starting goaltender. Like, you know what I mean?
All right. So 2 losers you got. You got Vegas, and you got, what's it called? What was your second loser?
Tampa. Vegas, Tampa. Winners,
and your winners, you got Rangers,
Boston.
and Boston. Daniel, what about you? Give me 2 winners. Give me 2 losers. Explain why.
Okay. Winners, Rangers have to be one of them.
Okay.
Reason being that Tarasenko is such a good ad. I'm not even really including the Kane deal, but they were already a deep team, and he just added that whole extra level. And the second, I gotta go the Devils.
I hear you. I was thinking about it.
Like, biases aside, Timo Meier was such a huge ad for them, and we didn't even talk about it, but Curtis Lazar they added too. That's some big depth to have, a guy who's NHL caliber fourth liner who could lay the body, block shots, do all that kind of stuff. That's a big thing for us, and it's going to help in the playoffs. He has that experience too, 28 career games, and he has 87 hits in those games. So that's exactly what we need, what we've been lacking. So that's got to be that. Then Tampa Bay, loser. That's explainable in itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all I have to say. And
1,
and
2,
Mr. Foot.
3, 4, 5, and a foot.
Give me a second.
Foot and
Give me a
5.
second loser.
Well, you said you want interesting teams, right?
Give me an interesting team.
So I can't say Arizona. Then I gotta go Vegas. They like, it was just such a mid deadline. Like, they're in a good spot in the standings, and they had a chance to do so much more. But it's almost like they kind of cheaped out. They didn't get Timo. They didn't really get any, like, top of the barrel. It was like they were shopping in the bargain bin.
I'm going to go for these 2 teams, I'm going to go teams that y'all haven't said. We're just going to, not to resurface points. Winner number 1, Toronto. I think that Kyle Dubas with this deadline, even if Toronto were to get bounced in the first round, I think he did enough to save his job. I don't think anyone in the organization is looking now at him. I think if Toronto can't get it done again, it's because the players just didn't get it done. It's not because of management.
The management can't go on the ice and win the games for you.
Mm-hmm. They put enough talent in that locker room to be able to win. Winner number 2, I'm going to have to say Washington. And here's why. I think getting a first-round pick for Orlov was insane. Even with him playing well in Boston, I don't think he's worth that. Then being able to flip that first-round pick, like and get a Rasmus Sandin, who I think is actually better than Dmitry Orlov. And at worst, even if he's not, even if y'all disagree, they still flipped that first-round pick. They got a young defenseman with term at an 8-year age decrease.
Yeah.
Great great deadline for them.
Organizationally moving forward.
Exactly. Losers. Number 1, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. There's gonna be one that shocks people.
Hot take incoming.
Hot take incoming. Hold up. Give me 1 second. Wait for it. I'm going to give you a little extra spice here. Drum roll incoming.
The Colorado Avalanche.
Boom!
Here's why. I don't think they addressed their number 1 issue.
Which is?
Number 2 center. I don't think that they did it. Lars Eller, does that solve the issue? No. Do you believe that JT Compher is a number 2 center?
No.
N-O.
No. Do you believe that Evan Rodriguez is a number 2 center?
N-O.
No.
Well, you know Evan Rodriguez better than us. So
No,
you tell me.
He's not a number 1 center. I'm sorry, he's not. So, Colorado being such a talented group, trying to go back to back, they didn't address the number 1 concern that they have. And to me, that's alarming. And to me, that's why they're the number 1 loser. Number 2, I'm going to go Philadelphia. And here's why. Steve Yzerman made Chuck Fletcher look like an absolute fool 5 minutes left to go in the deadline. He made him look, him backing out of that James Van Riemsdyk trade made that organization look so bad They
Yeah.
didn't move Van Riemsdyk. They didn't move Kevin Hayes. They didn't move Tony D'Angelo. They have no direction
Who's
whatsoever.
now going to get suspended probably for spearing.
Yeah, they have no direction whatsoever as an organization. You have John Tortorella running around actively burning the locker room down. Like, what are, it's an absolute,
It's a circus.
it's a clown show at the Wells Fargo Center. That's all it is. It's just a clown show. If Philadelphia, if they were to have even added at the deadline, and that would have been wild in itself. I wouldn't have called them the biggest loser because they had a plan. You might not, what's it called? Lots of people would not have agreed with the plan.
But at least they did something.
Yeah, they did something, and they had an organization, they had a direction organizationally.
They were in hibernation, quite literally.
Yeah, they did absolutely nothing. They should have sold everyone off and we'll go from our 2% chance to our 8% chance at one of the top two prospects.
Even the Arizona route, like, at least, like, you have some kind of potential for the future if prospects pan out and stuff, but to just accept mediocrity and do absolutely nothing.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
There's only one team that made no trades at the deadline.
Hit it.
The Florida Panthers.
Well, even the Florida Panthers, like them doing nothing, they're still in the playoff race.
That's true, they are.
They're still like the Flyers did like nothing, but they pretty much did nothing with doing stuff. They did nothing.
Well, we're going to take a quick break here on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, but when we come back, we will be breaking down the games from this past week and many more in the NHL world. Stay tuned, everybody.
Hey, you're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, where music stays cool. Cooler than a dog on a skateboard. Okay, I take that back, but we're still pretty cool.
The quiet air isn't what I remember. Holding to the sky, holding. Couldn't keep my feet on the ground forever. Now the riptide's spinning and you're pulling away with the last pill bottle that you threw in the bay. Let your head down now. It just doesn't feel the same. Red dress and high heels on, wrapped up in red dress and high heels on, wrapped up in white nylon. Stay my little ocean blonde, drown me in one more song. Red dress and high heels on, wrapped up in white nylon. Stay my little ocean blonde, drown me in one more song. Red dress and high heels on, wrapped up in white nylon. Stay my little ocean blonde. Oh.
You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and we are back for hour number 2 of Breaking the Ice. Joined again, Devils Fanatics, AJ Chasan here. I said Devils Fanatics, my mistake. Sorry, got you guys mixed up.
That's just disrespectful.
No, he didn't even hear it, so don't even worry about it, bro. He didn't even know what I'm talking about. We got Devils Report on mic 2, AJ Chasan mic 3. Boom! We're back, hour 2. Let's get back into the games of this past week. So, Pacific Division. Honestly, it's been pretty bland over the past few weeks. Vegas still at the top. Kings, Seattle, doing their thing. And shout out LA. Listen, they're on fire right now. Kings are on fire, winning constant games. Took down, listen, they beat the Caps, the Blues, and the Habs. So they're winning the games they should. At least they're not losing stupid games. But I'm going to give my Team of the Week honors to the very own new team in the league from a couple years ago, the Seattle Kraken. Kraken making a real push to separate themselves. They've won 5 games in a row, took down Colorado, and then a couple, easy games there with the Blue Jackets, the Ducks, and the Red Wings. But 5 in a row for them, and it's going great. They look to be going on the up. So now the Pacific Division is finally getting some 80-point teams. They have 3 now, actually, out west. 3 teams with 80 points.
About time.
But they went off this week, so shout out them. Vegas, 3-1, their 1 loss to the Cats. I'll get into that later. However, Edmonton now still holding on strong to that first wild card spot. And Calgary, thank goodness they're like the first team out, because I can't stand the fact of them being anywhere with that record of theirs. I hope they stay there, and for good.
What's your beef with Calgary?
They're like Dallas, same thing. It's just like the point system, man. I just hate the point system, and they're benefiting off of it. So
yeah, it's understandable.
That's all. That's the only reason
Dallas
why.
is in first place, and they've won 4 more games than they've lost.
Yeah, literally, and then there's literally the Jets, 8th wild card spot, but they have 2 more. They have more wins. They have more wins than Dallas. But Edmonton.
But you lost the games better. Good job, boys.
That's basically it. Vancouver still struggling, but Calgary's doing all right. The Anaheim Ducks have actually moved up into 7th in the Pacific. Incredible.
Watch out, Lord Stanley.
Incredible.
They're coming.
That overtime loss and that win puts the Sharks down to the bottom now. Sharks out here losing everything they can, and they now even lost the sole possession of not the worst team in the Pacific Division and not the worst team in the league. The only team without 20 wins, San Jose Sharks.
The Sharks put Andreas Janssen, Fabian Zetterlund into their top 6 instantly from the Timo Meier trade.
And how do you feel about that?
Zetterlund was bouncing between a healthy scratch and a third liner for most of it. Yeah, he was on our first line during the win streak, but he wasn't the main part of that line. And Andreas Janssen has literally been a middle 6 AHL player all year, and he ends up in the top 6 of an NHL team. That's ridiculous.
It happens, man, and there's nothing you can do about that. There's a team that's a poverty franchise over there. That's what you call a poverty franchise.
Going back to your beef with Calgary, did anyone see that game last night? Calgary and Minnesota?
Did not.
See the overtime? You see what happened in overtime?
Did not.
Let's hear about it.
So, Jared Spurgeon scores in overtime, right? It's a 0-0 game, 1-0, Wild win. I'm pulling up the video right now to show y'all. They ruled so they end up taking the goal back. They end up calling everyone back. It's offside, no goal. Calgary, their equipment staff, half their bench is already in the dressing room. Already in the dressing room. Everyone thinks it's a goal. it's a quick replay. Come back with an offside. They somehow get it back. They somehow get it to a shootout. Calgary wins.
Yeah, Kadri and Toffoli scored the goals.
Yeah, it was horrible. I'm pulling up the thing right now.
Was it the right call though?
I'm gonna let y'all decide that one.
Oh, okay.
All right. First, I'm gonna show Daniel. Come on over here.
All right.
They ruled this on. There's that as it's like on. He's coming up ice. Boom, possession. What we think? What do we think? And keep in mind, this same situation happened with like a Bavillier in Vancouver versus Dallas, and they ruled this to be a good goal.
But as long as you have possession, correct? It doesn't
Yes.
matter if you enter the zone before the puck.
Mhm.
As long as it's determined possession. It
Yes.
doesn't get more possession than that.
I would say, but now Connor.
Pass me a phone.
That's a brutal call by NHL
video.
officiating.
Yep.
I mean, how can you watch that and say he doesn't have possession of the puck? And it's not just this rule. The NHL, like, they're so backwards on their interpretation of every rule, whether it be cross-checking, goaltender interference, offsides. Like, just make up your mind and stick to it, please. It's frustrating for every single fan who watches a sport, watching a thing be a goal one night, a disallowed goal the next night. Like, I don't care what the rule is. Just tell us what it is.
And this was, I was saying, this wasn't the only officiating controversy in the Western Conference last night. You see Eric Carlson? See what happened with him? He got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty.
When he threw his helmet.
Mhm.
I saw that.
Because he got high-sticked, stuff dripped down, can't say. But, I would say, without refs, without he threw his thing, without threw his helmet, because he's mad, got thrown out of the game. It was hilarious. I thought it was great television, but it's just unfortunate.
Okay,
It was just unfortunate.
here's the thing.
It can't happen.
And what I don't understand is, how many challenges are you allowed to get in a game?
I feel like it's 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If that's the case, why does it matter what it's challenged on? Like, why can't you challenge a penalty? If it's the rules of the game, you're allowed those challenges, and if you get it wrong, it's a penalty, so it's not like you're challenging something for no reason. Like, I feel like the NHL doesn't allow you to challenge things like whether a guy was high-sticked or not, or like a tripping or something like that, because they don't want to, like, if that happened, it'd be basically an admittance of how much their officiating is wrong. And I get it. It's a tough sport to officiate. I can't even imagine. But at the same time, like, rules are rules, and it has to be fair to both teams. And when there's like such blatantly missed trippings, or a guy gets high sticked in the face to where it should be a 4-minute penalty and they're getting nothing for it, like, why can that not be challenged? I don't understand that.
So
Because if you're wrong, you're getting a bench minor for delay a game. So it's not like, because the NHL says they don't do it because they don't want people slowing down the game and just challenging things for random reasons. But no, you're not going to challenge something unless you're pretty sure of it.
It's not even like the games are slow either. There's limited commercials. There's barely any any
hockey
time.
games are like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, they're really quick. Like they're all when you come out of your pregame, you're on the air for like 30 minutes to start the game. Like, yeah, from the time you go on the air to the first period, it's like an hour, but after that, it's quick.
Yeah.
Well, like, I don't understand. Like,
20
We're
minutes.
drafting up our email to Gary right now. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
No, but the biggest point I feel like you brought up earlier this year wasn't even that one, but the embellishment thing.
That drives me nuts. I can't for the life of me wrap my brain around that one. If you're saying a guy got tripped, how can you say he faked being tripped? Because that's basically what
Because
embellishment
they called the
is.
both at the same time, you're saying?
Yeah.
It ends up being 4-on-4 anyway?
Yeah. It's like either he got tripped or he didn't. Like there was an instance last year when the Devils played Boston. I think it was Charlie Coyle. Comes up behind Nico Hischier, cross-checks him in the back. Like hard in the back. Nico goes straight down to the ice. 4-on-4. 2 minutes for cross-checking, 2 minutes for embellishment. There was physically, unless Nico Hischier had some kind of superpower where he gets cross-checked and he could just fly back up and land on his feet, there was nothing he physically could have done. He didn't roll around 3 times on the ice like a soccer player. He did absolutely nothing to show it. He just went down to the ice because he got cross-checked by a big guy going full force to his back. And the official decides to say embellishment. And it's not just Devils, that's just one that came to my mind, but it's happened in so many games I've watched. Like, there's instances where a guy gets tripped or cross-checked, and, like, it's almost like the officials expect them to defy the laws of physics. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. If, like, it's almost like, oh, like, if you show any sort of pain or wincing or go down, it's like you're doing it on purpose. It's like, no. And then there's guys blatantly diving that they don't call for embellishment. Like, it's just such a pick and choose thing, and not with most penalties. It's like, depending on the time of the game, the score, what the head official's interpretation of the rule is. Like, there's so many little, like, caveats that changed on a nightly basis to the NHL rules, and that can't happen anymore. Because it's not fair, it's frustrating to the fans, it's frustrating to the team. There's no reason for it. Stop.
Yep, so the refs can absolutely add to your beef on Calgary.
NHL official brains. All right. Anyways, Arizona, not even Arizona, not even there yet. Anaheim, cool. San Jose, not cool. Wild card spots, Edmonton's got one. Love to see it for them, but we're going to move on here now. Central Division time. Forgot to break out the foghorn earlier, but now it's back. Dallas still at the top, holding on strong, and they had a very good week. Max Domi making an impact immediately.
As we thought he would. He's a great player.
They destroyed the Avalanche 7-3. Talk about winning games when they mean something. These games are getting crucial now. Everything means everything. Every game means everything. And that is a great way to make a statement there. Minnesota now second in that division, making moves. Colorado falling off a little bit. They beat the Sharks 6-0, but like, Daniel, I want you to talk to me about the Devils-Avs game that happened last Wednesday.
That game was on something. I mean, it started out, the Devils played their best 19 minutes of hockey that they've played all season. They come into the home of the Cup contenders, and they just skate them into the ground. I mean, they got out to a 3-0 lead almost instantly in Colorado. The crowd was stunned. They used pin drop silent there. And then the Devils do what they've done a few times this year, and that's give up a goal in the last minute of the period, Nathan McKinnon, and definitely left some sour taste in our mouth. Then you move on to the second. Dougie Hamilton scores a big goal because when he's not playing bad defense, what's he doing? Scoring goals.
Yeah.
So 4-1 Devils, that's a big one. It became 5-1 Devils actually, because then Miles Wood scored after him on the power play. And then the wheels fell off the bus. 3 goals in 3 minutes and 2 seconds.
Dude, I checked my phone. I went downstairs, got food. It was like 5-1. And by the time I got back to my bedroom, everyone's like, come back. What's going on? And I see everyone freaking out. I'm like, what do you mean? It's 5-4. I'm like, what? So I had to check. I had to check for myself.
I think I actually talked about you on the podcast me and Justin did, saying that you went to do something and it was 5-1. And
then came back, it was 5-4.
It was 5-4, literally in the blink of an eye. And so Dawson Mercer broke the franchise record with a big insurance goal, 6th goal. Franchise record goal streak, huge for him. It was his 8th straight game with a goal. He's been insane lately.
Yeah!
I mean, he really looks like an elite player in this league. The past month he's gotten some confidence, and he was always good, but he has taken such a step forward, and he's only 21 years old, I think. So that's been a really special thing to watch. Anyway, we made it 6-4. Then period starts. Colorado scores a quick goal. Vitek gets pulled. I think it was 5 goals on 16 shots he gave up. And that's been kind of the norm for him lately. He has not been good. I don't know what it is. He's just been very, very shaky, not the dominant self that he's been. And to be fair, the Devils' defense hasn't done him any favors at all. But he's still, in the beginning of the year, like during the win streak, or even after that, when the Devils had defensive lapses, he bailed them out, so it wasn't as bad as a problem. He's not bailing them out right now, at all. He's just way too shaky. His rebound control hasn't been as good. He's sliding out of the net a lot. There's been probably 4 or 5 goals in the last week where the other team basically had an empty net because Vitek took himself so far out of position, which is odd because in the beginning of the year he was so positionally sound. I don't know what it is. Maybe he's just pressing, getting in his head. It's painful to watch because I'm a big Vitek fan. That he's a fan favorite in New Jersey. I mean, everyone loves him.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully he just gets back on track before playoffs because it's been tough to watch. And I got to give props to Akira Schmid coming into that raucous atmosphere at Ball Arena in a 1-goal game and shutting the door with the shutout, 13 saves in a row without giving up a goal to seal the deal against the defending Cup champions. It's not an easy thing to do, especially on the road in that atmosphere with a guy that has limited NHL experience, and it just seems like no moment is too big for Akira Schmid. We saw it during the win streak. I was at the game earlier this year where he made his debut, and he shut down the Senators in overtime and basically stole the game for us. He's just been rock solid, really. Whenever we've called on him, whenever we've called on him, he's answered the bell, and that's big, especially with Blackwood's injury status right now, and the fact that Vitek can't fully be relied on. I'm not saying he's bad, but when it comes playoff time, like there may be a game where he needs a break. Like you don't want to wear the guy out, and it seems like Schmid has been able to handle his duties. So props to him there. The Devils ended up winning that game 7-5 with Nico Hischier adding the empty netter, but it was just very, very
Touchdown, baby.
Yeah, that was their second game in a row with 7 goals.
Colorado struggling to figure things out, but they've still got a 1-point lead on Winnipeg. So if Winnipeg wins a game, Colorado's back down to the wild card. So we'll see how things shake up there in the Central. Nashville just staying afloat. St. Louis, Arizona, Chicago enjoying the bottom of the barrel as far as the Central Division goes. So now we're going to move on to the favorite division of the show. It's the Metro. At the top, the division remains the same as it has forever now. It appears the wild card race is shaking up, but some of the top seeds are getting, solidified there. Hurricanes still at the very top. The Devils trying to catch, but just can't make it there. You know what I'm saying? Just can't make it there. Carolina beating the Coyotes 6-1, then took down Tampa 6-0. Incredible. I love to see it. How did you guys feel about that one, though? Because I know you're looking for these teams to lose.
I mean, yeah, what's that? You want these teams to lose and beat up. But the big thing is not only you want them to lose, you want to beat up on each other.
Yeah.
You want to beat up on each other because that just moves you up in the rankings. So, yeah, it's dogfight.
The Metro is just a mess. They are so good, and I just really wish the Devils were in the West. But
oh, yeah, they're in the West at the number 1 seed already. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, that's not the case. We got to deal with the cards we're dealt. And, the problem is there's just no margin for error in the Devils sense with Carolina and the Rangers. Like, they both just basically keep winning games, especially Carolina. I mean, last night after walking out of a pretty depressing atmosphere at the Prudential Center after we blew that lead, everyone's like, oh, at least the Hurricanes are down by 1 against Montreal with 4 minutes left.
Shootout.
And I knew there was no way that was lasting. Like, you just had the feeling, like, Carolina's going to score. And sure enough, by the time I get to my car, it's tied. By the time I get home, check my phone again.
Jesper Fast, man. Jesper Fast with the game-tying goal.
4-3 Hurricanes, and that's just been the story. They don't quit, similar to the Devils, but I still think right now they're a little more of a complete team. It's very close. We may end up seeing how that goes in the playoffs, but they certainly scare me a lot. They're a big threat to the Devils this year. And I don't see a scenario where, even if the Devils are playing excellent hockey, I don't see a scenario where they overtake Carolina for first place because Carolina is just too good.
So now, talk to me about, we'll move on to the Devils now and sit in a second there. Talk to me about the Avs game already. Talk to me about the Knights one. 4-3 loss shootout.
We got Aiden Hild. That's literally what it was.
We got Aiden Hild.
We played one of our best games of the season, and he made 47 saves, including
47 saves on 50 shots on goal.
including 9 saves in overtime. I mean, we literally, I've never seen a team have the puck more in an overtime session more than the Devils did. I mean, I don't think Vegas touched that puck for more than like 15 seconds out of the 5 minutes. It was just constant shots on goal by the Devils. That Boquist rang the inside of the post. Mercer had a glory. There were like at least 5 of those 9 shots were like grade A+ scoring chances. And Aiden Hill was just acrobatic. I mean, he was playing like prime Marty Brodeur, prime Lundqvist.
And he didn't even give up a shootout goal.
Yeah.
It was just one, Shea
The
Theodore.
thing is, the Devils are not a good shootout team. For as good as a team they are, they don't really have any, like, quote-unquote finishers in the shootout. That might be different with Timo now, but, I mean, Jesper Bratt's been okay. Tomas Tatar's been okay. Jack Hughes is not good in shootouts. Nico Hischier is not good in shootouts. Sharon Govich isn't even in the... He's probably one of our better finishers in terms of, like, shootouts, but he's not even in the lineup anymore. That's how much he's fallen off. Dougie Hamilton's okay in the shootout, but they don't have any, like, quote-unquote shootout specialists. Like, when we had Nikita Gusev, like, he was, like, 50% in the shootout. He was unreal. And he was not that great at hockey otherwise, but there are some guys, like even former Devils legend Jacob Josephson, like, there are some guys who are just really, really good at the shootout, and the Devils don't have any of those on their team. So we almost always, if it's an overtime session, we almost always win, but if we don't happen to score in that overtime session, it gets pushed to a shootout, the odds shift dramatically in favor of the other team. So
I hear you what you're saying.
That's just how the Devils are, and thankfully there's no shootouts
in the playoffs.
So,
but now we're going to move on. Coyotes game on Sunday. Overtime victory.
That was a bad game. The Devils played that game should not have gone to overtime whatsoever. They were just so bad defensively all over the place. Vitek did not have a good game himself either. It's big that Timo Meier scored his first goal as a Devil. Literally not even 10 minutes in. It was his third shift as a Devil, and he scored. But aside from that, like the Devils played pretty good offensively, but their defense, I mean, you can't give up those goals to Arizona. Like 2 of them basically turned into empty nets because that's how Vitek's been, sliding out of position. Zach Cassian scored his first goal of the season. He literally had no points all year. Until that.
Incredible.
And it was just painful because that game shouldn't have got to overtime. We let up a 6-on-5 goal because our defense just looked like deer in headlights. And thankfully we were able to win it in overtime, which we should have. We're a good overtime
23 seconds
team.
into overtime.
Yeah, Nico Hischier, and I love that Nico, as the captain of this team, he didn't even celebrate. Like, he gave like a quick little smile, but like he almost looked angry that the game even went to overtime. Like, it wasn't this big celebration. He did exactly what a captain of a team that played as poorly as the Devils did in that game should have acted. And props to him for just kind of walking off the ice and being like, okay, we got our 2 points. Like, we shouldn't have been in this situation in the first place because we're obviously a much, much better team than Arizona. It's not even close. And I've even heard of half of Arizona's lineup. Like, I'm convinced they just like put like letters in like a blender and came up with these like names and said they were NHLers. Like,
They're NHL guys, I swear.
Yeah,
We swear, man. They got IDs and everything.
like actual NPCs. Like, I'm convinced.
NPC? Nah, it's the frat kids. That's their Imagine that's the initiation. That's the frat initiation. You got to play for the Coyotes, and you have to survive at least 4
Well,
shifts.
it makes sense. They're on a college campus, so why not?
Got to play for the Coyotes, and you have to score 1 point in 3 games. If you could do that, you're in. That'd be a funny narrative if it were true. But moving on here, the heartbreaking loss last night
Yeah, to Toronto.
to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
I was there. First period was phenomenal. It was scoreless after 1, but we were leading shots, I think 15-3, and
We check that out for you. So it was indeed 15-5.
15-5, and we out hit them 10-0, I believe, as well, which is crazy because the Devils don't out hit a lot of teams, but they were playing with a little bit of an edge last night. They were really physical, which I love to see. I wish they could do it more often. It was a good game until 5 minutes left in the third. Devils were up 3-2. 2 of those goals by Eric Halla, by the way, which were well deserved because he does everything else right except finish. So it was nice to see him finish for a while.
Let's go.
But yeah, 3-2 Devils. Defensive breakdown leads to a goal. An empty net, another one where Vitek slid too far over to the right post. It was an empty net for Bunting. And then Timo Meier, who did not have that great of a game last night, not going to lie. I'm not saying he's a bust. I'm not saying to get him off my team. All I'm saying is he did not have a great night, and it happens, especially with a new team, first home game. He was probably trying to do a little too much. He led to the Toronto's second goal was a Mitch Marner shorthanded breakaway, and it's because Timo lost the puck and Mitch Marner was all in alone. So yeah, Timo took a high sticking penalty with about 3 minutes to go in the game, and he just tried to bat the puck out of midair and he missed it and hit. I think it was Marner. He hit him in the face. So it's kind of just bad luck, but. Sure enough, Devils' penalty kill gets caved in, lets Austin Matthews, of all people, walk right into the slot, and Vitek had no chance at it. He just whistled it home. 4-3. Devils have been a good 6-on-5 team. They had some pressure, but, I mean, you can't rely on them to score 6-on-5 every time. And they came close, but they didn't do it. It didn't look like there was a real sense of urgency. Like, even with 13 seconds to go, I think they dumped it in and, like they were passing it around instead of just trying to throw it on net, looking for the perfect shot, and that perfect shot just never happened until there were 2 seconds left and they made some kind of attempt to throw it from the corner towards the net, but it was way too late then. It was just frustrating because they played well for the most part, but it's those defensive lapses yet again that just they're just digging their own grave kinda, and I don't want to sound too spoiled because the Devils, I didn't even think they had a shot at making the playoffs, period. And now we're almost talking how far are they going to go in the playoffs? That's how much the culture has changed, but at the same time it's still realistic to call out what you see on the ice, and it just feels like our defensive structure is just not very good. That's what it comes down to. It almost seems like we've kind of been, our offense has been phenomenal. We've finally been able to roll all 4 lines. Palat, Halla, Boquist has been an insane third line. I mean, they were the best line on the ice the last 2 nights in Arizona and against Toronto. So we're rolling all 4 lines finally. The offense is finally clicking on all cylinders. And then what happens? Our defense just forgets that defense is even a thing. And also, I do have to say, Jack Hughes has not been playing great lately since he came back from his injury. It leads me, I don't know if he's playing through an injury or something.
Number 86.
Don't say the name.
Number 86, man.
You're still obliged to the rule.
Nah, listen, I think they're allowed to say it.
No,
they can say it, but, they just become the bad guys.
Regardless, number 86, Jack Hughes, has just simply, he's turning the puck over way too much. He's not sure. He's getting looks on net and, fanning on his shots.
There's
or just,
the MVP hopes all this way right here.
He was never going to win it. We knew that.
Even the candidacy, just nosedive.
But
Boom.
I mean, he's still been around a point per game. He's still been getting his assists for the most part, though no points the last 2 nights. But
Chuck better.
anyway, he just like you could tell he's just not the same as he was when what's it called?
Come on, you can do it.
Don't worry about it.
You got it. Come on, you got it.
They're pressuring me because I'm suddenly not allowed to say the name of my team's star player, whose name happens to be Jack Hughes. But anyway, yeah, his pre-injury self and his post-injury self are just clearly not the same, and it's frustrating because we know he has it in him. Obviously, we saw it earlier this year, and just right now he's not stepping up. And what I hope is that Lindy Ruff loves to mix up lines when they don't need to be mixed up. That's my one small...
Dude, I hate it, man.
That's my one small gripe I have with him. And he was already starting to break up the Brat Hughes Meyer line last night. And it's like, they've been creating so many chances. They just haven't finished. It's literally been 1.5 games. Like, give him a shot at least. Like, if you just keep
come on, big guy.
If you keep switching them up, no one's ever going to gel. And, like, our lines have been working, so we're already scoring league-high offense the past, like, week. If we just allow them to gel together and get more used to playing with each other, because it's Timo's first time as a Devil, it'll be fine. Look at the talent on that line. Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes, and Timo Meyer. You can't say that line isn't going to be fine.
Dude, that sounds fantastic. I'll take it, man.
Yeah.
Cat's first line right now is Lusterinen and Barkov, and then I think it's like Duclair or Reinhardt. So,
yeah, and
that's
not even our first line. That's our second line.
Right, because the Nico line is first.
Tatar, Heischer, Mercer they've really been our best line over the past, 3 weeks, I want to say. They're so defensively responsible because all 3 of those players play great defense. They're very situationally aware. They know what they're doing. And then offense, they really chip in too. Tomas Tatar complements Heischer so perfectly. That's what they did the entire 13-game winning streak. And then, like I said, Dawson Mercer, he has points in 10 straight games and goals in, I believe, 9 of his last 10. I mean, he has really, really been just good, and he's still young, and he has so much potential. So to have that as your first line, and then the superstars on line 2, Bratt, Hughes, Meyer, give him a shot, Lindy. Stop trying...
Lindy?
Stop trying... I was almost going to use a British accent because you said it. Stop trying to mix things up.
I feel like we're getting a preview of Shout at the Devils right now.
Nah, listen. Shout at the Devils. Half of Shout at the Devils is not here. We only shout at the devil here. Not plural. We got singular. So that's what the Devils said at right now.
We'll bring Jack Hughes on the show.
Now, if you guys do that, I will pay. Second in the Metro right now, and they have that almost locked up. Can they catch Carolina? It's still possible.
I wouldn't say they have that locked up. The Rangers still... I don't know. If the Devils' defense keeps playing the way they do and the Rangers catch fire, Igor starts playing better.
Well, yeah, because right now the Rangers had 1 point this past week, going to overtime with the Flyers, losing to Ottawa, and then losing to Boston. So, and now they got Montreal tomorrow. So, we'll see how well they do. But those are the 3 at the top of the Metro right now. Fourth, look at the Islanders go, man. Beat Buffalo just yesterday.
Who would have thought that Matt Barzal going down would be the thing to light a spark in them? Of all things.
They're back at 500 right now. And their first wild card spot. But Pittsburgh, technically by percentage, because look, Pittsburgh has 3 less.
Pittsburgh's going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, Pittsburgh is 3 games.
AJ started giving up unnecessarily.
Listen, Pittsburgh.
Jinx.
Listen, they had. They didn't have.
That's what it was.
All right. So, they beat the Lightning on Thursday. Tell me about that one, man.
I mean, with our first game with Mikhail Granlund, moved the puck well. With the finished on chances, with the bottom 6 looked good. It was just an all-around good win, something you needed. something needed to happen. They did. Road trip was great. They were able to get points in a lot of their games and set themselves up for now a big homestand to where they're going to have to hold down the fort because they have the Islanders coming into town tomorrow night. And then they have their quote-unquote easier matchup with Philadelphia, which Penguins struggle versus Metropolitan teams. Don't care how bad Philly is. And then they got the Rangers 3 times in 4 games. So that's going to be the deciding factor of their season, and we'll see what happens.
So, all right, now time for the best part of the episode. Panthers-Penguins. Literally 2 days later, and the Cats win 4-1. Let me tell you something, man. Sam Bennett scored at the very end of the first period. Beautiful, right? Then Ekblad scored on a power play. I'll give Casey DeSmith some credit, though. He had some key stops, but, it wasn't good enough because Sergei Bobrovsky is back. 32 shots by this Penguins offense. Only got 3 in the first period. How does that make you feel?
It's whatever. I mean, it's not that big a deal. Like, they were able to weather the storm. They were able to generate chances.
They were able to generate chances.
They just weren't finishing. So, it happens.
It does. At that point, it's
happens, with that, scratch it off, go to the next game, next mentality, and they were to buzz, versus Columbus, the their next game, it's at home, even though they were down 4-0 in the second period. That wasn't great.
They were down 4-0, and then as soon as the halfway mark of the game hit, boom, explosion.
Boom. That's pretty much what happened.
They just changed it around, and Sid scored in overtime. Penguins win.
How often have we heard that?
A lot. So Pittsburgh now 3 points ahead of Florida, who's chasing with everything they got to try and catch them. But we'll see how possible it is. You know what I mean? It's like they might have a better chance catching the Islanders because they have a game under them.
You're going to be a big Rangers fan these next 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, let's go for it. Like, if the Panthers have any chance, it's probably not. Listen, Ottawa, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh all have 2 games on them. And Pittsburgh's above, 3 points above. So that's going to be really difficult to catch. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. So Florida's got to win everything they got. And they got Chicago on Friday, so
if Pittsburgh ends up taking 2 of 3 from the Rangers, they'll be in a good spot.
They play the Rangers 3 times in a week. That's funny.
If they take 2 of 3, they'll be in a good spot. We'll see what happens.
Oh, man, we're going to need Pittsburgh. We're going to need some Rangers fans on here with you. We're going to need that for that episode because that week's going to be great. So
next Wednesday?
Oh, yeah. Is it next Wednesday? No. Yes.
Yeah, next Wednesday episode, and then Thursday. What's that then?
Yeah, then it goes right after that.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on here. Looks like Washington still trying to chill in down there. They had a key loss, though. Philly's at the bottom. Columbus at the bottom. Not making much out of there. They're not doing too hot. So let's move on here. Final division on the rendezvous here. We got the Atlantic. We talked about Boston a ton earlier. But let's circle back. They have now won 10 games in a row. They have not lost an NHL hockey game since February 11th.
That's disgusting.
Which is almost a month.
That's disgusting.
They've won 10 games in a row, destroyed Buffalo 7-1, and then took care of the Rangers 4-2. Pasta's playing on this new money. So they're let's see how far their win streak takes them, and they're going to just chill at the top and ride it out. First seed in the East, about to get locked up. I think. Yeah.
Teams are going to start clinching some playoff spots soon.
It's happening soon. It's definitely happening soon. There's, 16 games left for some teams?
Give it about a week and a half, and it's going to start happening a lot.
19 to 16 games left for every team in the league. And Toronto, they're starting to pull away a little bit. They had a solid week this week. Very at the top. Took down the Devils, took down Calgary. Lost to Vancouver and Edmonton, but it's just enough to get over Tampa Bay. And Tampa... Yikes. They lost to Pittsburgh, lost to the Sabres, and then they get destroyed by Carolina, and they just took out all their anger on poor Philadelphia down there. 5-2 win last night. And that still gives them there's still a large point differential. So it looks like Tampa's going to play Toronto first round again. And the wild card race out west is heating up, out east. I keep saying out west. Because Florida is now moved up to 4th in the wild card, in the Atlantic, and now is the first team in the hunt for a wild card spot. They lost to Nashville, which was extremely frustrating because the offense got 1 goal off of Brandon Montour. Defense played great, Bobrovsky not as great, but he could have been better. Just like they just couldn't convert their chances. Like the offense got to be better than that. And then to make up for it, though, they go out and take care of Pittsburgh. And then last night they took care of Vegas, and it was beautiful. Bobrovsky shutting the door again and again. Ryan Lomberg scored a goal, and he's one of my favorite players. One of my favorite Panthers. Second period rolls around. Barkov scores a goal. Good to have him back. And Vegas finally scores off a power play, so it doesn't even bother me. Third period, just more shutdowns. Just Bobrovsky slams the door, makes 31 of 32 saves. He's back. He is back, man. I love seeing this. Duclair is finally healthy. Anthony Duclair is finally healthy.
About
and
time.
now that Achilles injury destroyed him. But here he is. And now that he's back, the Lions are fine. This team is about as healthy as can be, but Patrick Hornqvist is down for the season with that concussion. He's done. He's not coming back. And once they get Giovanni Smith back, which is like a 4th liner, the team will actually be able to play to their full potential right now. So line 1, Barkov and Duclair there. They move Verhaeghe down to line 2, which is interesting because Verhaeghe was on Barkov's line for the last couple years. So Lustarinen's a first liner right now, which I don't know how I feel about, but he was like a 4th line guy last year. So it's really interesting to see now how you go from 4th line to first line and handle the adjustment. Verhaeghe's there with Bennett and Tkachuk. Tkachuk on the second line, nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Power play, of course, he teams up with Barkov. Third line is finally back to form. Lindell and Reinhart. And to replace Mason Marchment, they just shoved Ryan Lomberg there. So it does the job. It could be better, but it does the job. He scored yesterday, and I'll take it. Colin White and Eric Stahl and Nick Cousins make up the 4th line. So that's a true NHL 4th line right there. Legitimately just filler guys. It's not like when they had literal Hornqvist on the 4th line alongside Lusterinen, who's better than that as well. They had a crazy 4th line last year, and now it seems normal.
For the next week and a half, your schedule opens up a little bit as well. You got Chicago on Friday.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it should be. You should win that. Then you got Winnipeg, but you're going to see them at home, not in Canada. So that's awesome.
This is a 6-game homestand right here. Yeah, to start the month.
Yep.
7 games actually. It's a 7-game home stretch.
Then you got Montreal coming in, and then you got a dogfight with the Devils, but you are on home ice, so that'll be a fun.
I may be in attendance.
Oh, because that's when you'll be out there for the
Possibly.
World Baseball Classic. A man of many travels, Daniel Amoia has been to Houston for a Mets series, which they lost.
Then you play Detroit with no direction, and then you play the Flyers with really no direction.
It's getting great. Yeah, and then the Leafs and the Rangers and the Senators and the Leafs again. So ending this season is going to be, oh boy.
So you gotta take advantage. You gotta rack up what's out of these wins and hope that the schedule and hope that these other teams open up a lane for you.
Panthers overtaking the Penguins? ?
Oh yeah, man.
That would be. Can you imagine stretch time in the season, the last week, if the Panthers and Penguins are tied, and then the Devils and Rangers are lined up to play in a playoff series? The breaking the ice.
We're gonna have it out.
Wild.
We need Tanner needs to be on here for this possibility.
If that's the case, I like Pittsburgh's chances. Their last 3 games they're nice. They get Detroit, Chicago, and Columbus.
This is
that's the next 3 for Pittsburgh.
Nope, their last 3 of the season. If that's the case, I like their chances.
Yeah, Florida's ending the season with Toronto, Rangers, and then Ottawa, who's trying to fight, and then Toronto again, and then Montreal.
Oh,
so if they can weather the storm till the end of March, until the end of March, I like Pittsburgh's chances.
I think Florida can.
Oh, I lied. So I completely forgot there's a part of the schedule that literally is labeled April. So the end of the season is actually go somewhat different. The last 2 games are legit Toronto and Carolina, sadly. So
that's
rep,
still tough.
right? But in the middle is a Columbus game. A little bit of a prayer there. And then we got Ottawa again. Buffalo will be close. Washington will be close. So, it's possible. I'm liking it. I'm liking the chances.
I mean, theoretically, the Penguins and Panthers could both get in.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Islanders fans if that's the case.
But Buffalo,
I feel like that's what I'm rooting for.
even
for the
Washington,
content.
if they go on a tear.
Oh, yeah, for the
but-
content, let's make that happen. For the content, we need. And then both of our teams, first round upsets. Take care of Carolina and Boston, right? Second round, we
I'm all
got
for
Devils. Second round, what would it be? It'd be Devils Penguins. Second
Oh,
round.
no. Oh, no.
Daniel will be a big fan of that.
And then
Oh,
it'd be. And then we're going to get Lightning
What are you saying
Panthers
oh, no
again.
for? What are you
And
saying
then-
no for? Hold on.
Hold up.
What are you saying no
Wait
for?
a
I'm
minute.
not saying I'm scared
What's
of
going
the
on?
Penguins. I'm just saying it's going to be a stressful time for me.
Why?
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 Because of the Breaking the Ice group chat.
Yeah, that ain't gonna be fun.
Like, I could just picture, like, the Penguins going up 1 goal in the first period and, like, 13 missed FaceTime calls from AJ Chasan. I see it.
He sees it. Let's
Could very
speak it into
well
the
But
future. I'm ready for this.
Speaking of, is it next Tuesday, I believe, that AJ will be paying his dues for the bet he lost?
Are you all going to the game together?
Yeah.
All right, so here's what I need. I'm going to give y'all that log into the Instagram account. I need videos on the account, story posts, and just I need content.
He has to actively
Need this.
root for the New Jersey Devils.
I need the content
I'm
of
very
AJ
intrigued
at
to
the
see how
Prudential
this is
Center.
gonna go.
I would say we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Don't.
We'll see what happens. No, it'll happen. It'll
Okay,
happen.
as long as it happens, I don't care.
This is content that we need. We need the AJ at the Prudential Center, and like Daniel just vlogging or Devils Fanatics just vlogging AJ's experience,
I'll vlog it.
or that too,
I'll vlog it.
or that too.
I'll take care of that.
AJ
You guys
AJ's
take
gonna
over the
be-
Instagram for one day at the Prudential Center.
AJ's gonna be joining in with the Ric Flair woos. It's gonna be beautiful.
That's not. Woo! I hope the Devils don't score. I hope they
Let's
don't.
score like 5 goals in the first
I
period.
need Vasilevsky to clutch
Oh,
up.
it's a Tampa game.
Yeah, I need him to clutch up.
He could totally clutch
What if
up.
it's Brian Elliott?
Ugh. And they play Tampa back to back. I hope it's not Brian Elliott on Tuesday. Ugh. That
All
would
right, let's
suck.
check out the schedule here. So, you're going to it's the first game though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm hoping that's the
All right.
Vasilevsky game.
2 day. Okay, it will be.
Yeah.
You know why? So let's just look at their schedule this way.
What?
So Saturday they have a game,
Tampa?
and then they have a game Sunday. So that's a back-to-back.
Okay.
So Brian Elliott will most likely get the Sunday game, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then the next game after that would be the Tuesday Devils game.
All right, so that's
So
all
you're
right,
in
that's
line
right.
for Vassy at the moment.
All right, that's awesome.
But listen, not everything's guaranteed
Now
out
watch
here.
now watch Vasilevsky get lit up.
I hate to interrupt, but breaking the news on Breaking the Ice.
Let's hear it.
NHL Flyers Tony DeAngelo has been suspended for 2 games for spearing Tampa Bay Lightning forward Corey Perry.
He got the suspension handed down. Dude, D'Angelo, like,
Let's just say 2 words: character issues.
Yeah, he's been quite the project.
Carolina, it was cool.
'Cause Carolina,
Yeah,
has
no,
Carolina's a great organization.
Yeah,
that has a great system.
Carolina was the most like normal time of Tony DeAngelo's career. Like he was relatively unproblematic, at least until playoffs. And all of a sudden, like it seems like him going to Philly, the Philly came out of him.
Oh man, the Philly came out of him. Well, listen,
He went
I would just
almost
say like the Northeast, like pretty like the Northeast, like can't say it, but ugh, like that with like that stereotype is Tony DeAngelo.
yeah.
That is Tony DeAngelo.
Just always can't seem to get out of his own way. And he really is like that spearing, like that was a dirty play.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
He exemplifies the term blank hole.
interesting way to put it there, blank hole.
Mm-hmm.
But that's some breaking news there on Breaking the Ice. We got 6 minutes left here. So it's been
man's
a
clock
fast 2
watching.
hours. And I want to go back to one thing. You talk about what if Vasilevsky gets shelled, right? So let's just take a look at his previous games. Last game, did solid. Game before that, 6 goals allowed. Game before that, 5 goals allowed. That's a Pittsburgh game. So, it's possible. 3 games before that
I
one
need
now.
that.
6 goals allowed.
Can
So
we
it's
stop?
totally
Can
possible.
we stop putting this juju out there? Like, what are we doing? what are we doing,
Listen, it's possible.
bro? You're supposed to be on my side.
I'm.
So we have the alliance.
Listen, but the alliance is against Tampa Bay.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that is true. You
Fair
said
enough.
it yourself.
You are a Panthers fan.
I can't. You know what I mean? Like that's enemy number 1. That's
Did
the
we
ops.
not all high five each other in the middle of last week's episode because
That is true.
because of our shared hatred for Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, AJ's like, "Go
I'm-
Tampa Bay,
I'm
go
gonna be-
Vasilevsky."
Yeah, I'm going to be breaking that. And here's the reason. Here's the reason why I'm breaking that. It's because we all have an alliance, but at the end of the day, I'm looking out for myself.
If
I'm
you were,
fine with
if
that.
you were
I'm fine with
truly looking out for yourself, you should have never made another bet.
Huh? No, you know what? That's what happens when you're confident. And sometimes confidence kills.
Confidence
Told you there.
kills.
Sometimes confidence kills. But you know what? We're going to be back up.
We're gonna be back up.
I just need this game to not be a lot of action whatsoever. I need y'all to be complaining a lot so I can be complaining because that'd be fun. Because y'all say
It'll be fake complaining.
No, exactly. Actively rooting for the Devils. If the Devils are getting shelled, and you guys actively complaining and moaning and groaning, that means I get to do it, but I get to do it out of
Undercover.
rooting. What I'm with the
Oh, that's
yeah.
what we're gonna. This segment is just undercover AJ at the Devils.
That'd be awesome. Don't get me wrong. I'll actively root for them in that way. Don't get me wrong.
Watch it be like a wild 5-4 Devils win in overtime, and everyone's going nuts, and AJ has to act excited.
So I want to get back to the best content possibility for our show, right? Panthers, Penguins take the wild card spots, and we got Devils, Rangers first round, and then we're gonna have what is it? Tampa, Toronto, whatever. Cool. Who cares? Who wins that series? Give me Tampa winning that series, right? We take the Penguins and Panthers take care of the 1 and 2 seeds. Carolina's down, Boston's down, right? And the President's Trophy curse continues due to last year's President's Trophy winners. So, Panthers take down Boston, and Carolina gets taken down by Pittsburgh. Second round, we get Devils, Penguins. Now, let me tell you, that'd be fantastic. And then, on the other side, you get Lightning, Panthers again. This time, Lightning finally glues to the Panthers. They make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And let's see, Devils or Penguins? What would be better content-wise for that win?
Devils, because there's more Devils fans.
But also the downfall would be really funny for the rest of us. So
that is true.
let's have Penguins Panthers Eastern Conference Finals,
That's my boy.
and this is how hold on,
That's my boy.
and this is how the Panthers win the Stanley Cup.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening.
And then they go out west and take on I don't know.
Who's a team you dislike in the playoffs?
All right, so Calgary sneaks into the wild card spot. Jonathan Huberdeau and Matthew Tkachuk go against each other in the Stanley Cup Finals on opposite sides.
And then
again.
Huberdeau wins.
And then Matthew Tkachuk single-handedly goes LeBron James mode, carries the Panthers to a championship against the Flames.
It's actually going to be Panthers Sens, and then Brady Tkachuk is going to
go against Tkachuk bros go against each other. Claude Giroux goes against his old team.
Matthew's going to purposely take out his brother, and that's the reason the Panthers are going to win the cup.
That's how the Panthers win the cup. So now let's backtrack here. How do the Devils, content-wise, we get Devils, Panthers, Eastern Conference Finals, and then what if the Rangers just take care of the Devils round 1? That'd be.
It's possible.
Tanner comes on the show
Taylor
all right, guys.
He does the blue shirts.
The blue shirts are back, and they just take care. Yeah, absolutely, literally.
Why'd you depict them so accurately?
I had to do what I had to do.
Do that again?
No.
What? We
I
can't get a
tried.
second take of that?
I tried.
Fine. The blue shirts.
Tanner comes on the show, walks in. I told you guys, man. I told you guys.
The Patrick Kane, Vladimir Tarasenko. Look at the kid line, man. The kid line. The kid line. They're buzzing. They're playing well. I'm at every NHL game possible.
Every NHL game.
I go to every NHL game because I'm Tanner.
Tanner
Love you,
Price.
Tanner.
He's got it's in his last name. The price
The
don't
Price
matter.
is Right.
The price is nice. Tanner Price is nice. Boom. There's his tagline right there. The Price is Right. I mean,
Huh?
What?
What?
Dude, we
What?
got lost so
Yeah,
hard.
Who,
I'm
what,
saying-
when, where, why, how?
I was saying journalistic. Here we go.
Journalistic. 30 seconds left here on Breaking the Ice. Boys, last words.
I was so grateful to see Frank Fleming, Barstool Sports legend,
Again?
at the Prudential Center
Let's
last
go.
night.
I want to see him.
I watched him film his Rage TikTok live, so peak life moment.
That's awesome.
Peak
the blue
life.
shirts.
That's just the last words
The red shirts. The red and
of
black shirts.
the red and yellow shirts from Florida. So now the boys got a chance to clutch up, going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's make it happen. You're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. This has been Breaking the Ice. It is spring break, everyone, so enjoy your time. We're going to send it back over, and you're going to hear some great content.
The ice has been broken.
The ice has been broken for today. Trade deadline's over. Time for the last quarter season push. Have a great day, everybody.